I went in an hour and a half. Well, I woke up at 5 o'clock this morning to make ambrosia
Mm-hmm.
because we had the department potluck today, which was fucking amazing.
Yay.
Um, and oh, it's just a fucking email. Who cares? Yeah, it was like there was like buffalo dip, there was big ziti, someone made cheese fondue, someone made homemade cookies.
Oh, I wish
Like,
my potlucks were like that.
oh my god, my coworker bought jalapeno poppers. Someone made a bacon wrapped dates. Yeah, there was just so much food. I had 2 plates, and I was like, I'm done. I can't eat anymore.
I feel that. Well, I sort of feel that.
Yeah, so. But then I had to stay an hour late because we were supposed to be done with this project in the early afternoon, but then the program Edge Animate decided to be a bitch and kept sending us error messages every fucking time I was trying to take out like a sound file. I was like, God damn it! Well, like we had to keep going into the generated JavaScript file on the back end and take out everything manually to redo it and make sure the file was clean enough for us to use.
That sounds not fun at all.
No. My coworker's like, yeah, I'm leaving early, go home. I'm like, I'll finish up.
Fun, I think.
No, I essentially pretty much did the entire project by myself. She did, I think, a few slides and a few audio files. It is 119 slides.
That sounds not fun at all. I mean,
Yeah.
even this is speaking as a storyboard artist who's, like, at last count, his storyboards for the Sonic project were 81 frames that had to be compiled together for After Effects. But still, not fun.
Yeah, I mean, like, if Animate wasn't such a bitch to work with, I probably would have been done, like, yesterday.
Yeah.
Or even the day before.
Momo the Troller writes, greetings, SkipperWing and Jiggy.
What?
Because, you know, like, I'm streaming right now.
Oh,
So,
sorry.
no, you're good. I mean, that's kind of why I would, like, if it was a problem, I'd be like, Jiggy, guess what? We're streaming. I can't talk to you right now, except that I really need to talk to you because I am having an existential crisis right now.
Okay.
Because, like, I started going through Code Academy's, JavaScript, class. And then I started thinking, I'm like, well, okay, what about that Adobe Air problem that we were having, the other day?
Right.
So I'm like, well, am I going to have to keep using ActionScript if I want to do it through mobile? Well, then maybe I should go do mobile somewhere else.
I mean, like I said, I keep harping on Muse because it seems like Muse is the one where it's like, yeah, oh, fuck. I didn't mean to do that. Okay, cool. I thought I accidentally closed Discord. Because I was trying to I swipe closed other stuff because I was like, oh, notifications, don't care.
Yeah.
But the only reason I keep on Muse because I did one class on Muse just to see how it worked, and I was like, this is actually interesting and kind of efficient. If now I can find a way to use it.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing is that, like, I started because I was driving, and I was just browsing through a bunch of articles. So it was just like some of them were like, oh yeah, well, you need to learn Java, you need to learn C, you need to learn this. Well, this is for game development, this is for mobile development, this is for web development, and I'm like, I just need 2 of these. Like, 2 of these that I can learn within a year.
Yeah, okay. C and stuff is if you're making a game. And it's fine. I mean, if you're learning Java, you should be fine.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not like pressed. I just kind of read a bunch of stuff, and like I needed some brain, like somebody else to spitball this against to like process it. Cause like I'm not making a game right now. I mean, I'll be making a game in like 5-10 years from now. But I'm not making a game right now. It's not necessary to know it yet. But at the same time, it's like my only 2 priorities are web and mobile. And so all I need is just the tools to do those things. But it was just this sort of, like, overwhelming sort of, like, oh no, well, here's all these tools. It's like, well, okay, here's a guitar. You need or like, if you want to do a band, you have to know bass, but you also have to know drums, but you also have to know, tuba if you're gonna do, if you're gonna do concert.
I was gonna say, web development's come a long way since I did it last. I mean, you're talking about way back in the day, like you just had to know HTML and CSS and maybe have like something like Dreamweaver or another coding application. That's it. It's like now you have, depending on what you want to do, it's like, well, you're doing a storefront, so you're going to use maybe PHP, SQL, and jQuery to do more database website. Or if you're doing like an interactive website, yeah, you're definitely going to use JavaScript, you're definitely going to use CSS, and you're definitely use HTML5. It's like, depending on what you're doing, it's like, I need this code.
Yeah. So I'm kind of like swamped in terms of like, okay, well, what exactly, where do I learn and where do I start? Cause
well, what type of, yeah, it's like I said, you're doing this for you. So if you know what type of website you want, then it's like, okay, I only need this.
Yeah, and really all I need is a direct translation in HTML5 of what I was already doing. That's all I want right now.
I'm saying you're more interested. And the thing is, PHP and SQL is more back-end stuff, so, like, you want to stick to more what's called front-end stuff, which is, if anything has the word script in it, like JavaScript, you know it's a front-end coding, and that's when you're probably going to use.
Yeah. Like, I mean, the way I see it going is just, like, Java's kind of the definite default, because, like, I'm working in Animate.
Yeah.
But in terms of translating it elsewhere, like say to Java for Android Studio or not C, but like whatever Eclipse uses.
No, Eclipse is an IDE. Eclipse uses whatever language you want it to use. You choose the language. Eclipse just makes sure it puts it together right for you.
And
so
then
Eclipse, like I have something called NetBeans, which is the same thing as Eclipse. It's just an IDE. It's a development. It's called a development environment, meaning you make everything in there. You can test it in there. You could do it. It's like a little playground you could do with your coding, pretty much.
Cool.
But it doesn't matter what code you use. Now, some people prefer Eclipse. Some people prefer NetBeans. I prefer NetBeans because I'm used to it, and it highlights all my syntax if I get it wrong, so I'm not like trying to find that stupid semicolon like 10 days later when it breaks.
Yeah, no, that happened to me on Code Academy, and there was a few exercises where I was just like, okay, fine, I'm just gonna reverse engineer it from the answer. Cause it was like, oh, by the way, your syntax is slightly off. I don't give a fudge. Sure, on a page you manage. But I mean, that's really the two, and we're going to get started in a little bit, guys. I just want to tell Facebook that we're streaming. I'm not really going to bother with Tumblr, because until I get the Crimson Fly back, it's not a big deal to stay on super schedule. Yeah. Not that, but it's also, it's a Friday.
Hi, everybody. That I can't see on the stream.
Well, I think it's just Muma so far. Muma and probably Best. Muma wants to know how it's going. Well, for those who don't know, not Flash, but Dropbox changed their how their public folder works, which means that I can't host my comic the way that I normally do. And so rather than putting another Band-Aid on it by getting proper hosting and uploading directly to the site, I decided I would rip the Band-Aid off, proverbially speaking, and jump into converting it into a file format that would actually be consistently working. So basically what Jiggy and I were just doing for the last like 3 minutes is we were sort of spitballing we were sort of spitballing all the different solutions that I could use to we could just spitball all the solutions I could use to get around this particular problem. And so yeah, like I'm right now I'm studying with Code Academy. I don't know why they don't call it Code Academy. Well, I don't know if Code Academy was taken, but Code Academy is what they call it. And so they, I was doing the JavaScript classes, but the problem is that to export from Adobe Animate to a mobile platform, it needs to still work in ActionScript, which means that which kind of like splits my attention in like 5 different places. So, yeah, so I had a sort of existential panic as to, okay, well, how am I going to do this? Because I'm not a programmer, and I don't have time to learn how to be a programmer who knows all the languages and all the workflows. So So I need to pick and choose which ones I'm going to learn. Sort of like how I'm not a 3D sort of like being an animator doesn't necessarily mean I need to be a 3D animator and know rigging and programming for rigging. I don't necessarily need to know everything there is for the various programming softwares. I just need to know what I need to know. So Jiggy's helping me spitball that and also helping me figure out, and also like on her spare time, getting the comic translated to HTML5.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm kind of waking up now. Jeez.
Yeah, well, hanging out with the skipper will do that to you.
Yeah, no, I napped long enough. I really... And if my light doesn't feel like being the exorcist today, I'll clean off my computer so I can hook it back up.
This is what desktops are for. I'm not desktop, laptops.
I know. But, I think I have to run to IKEA definitely tomorrow because we ran out of bookshelf space and all my programming and art books are like on the floor underneath my desk. And I'm like, yeah, this is why I don't have room to like do anything right now.
Ooh, speaking of which, do you have like any programming textbooks you can lend me?
Yeah, I got them from my uncle. Hold on, let me see. I actually have a JavaScript for Dummies book. Hold on.
Cool, because that would be greatly appreciated. Muma writes, are you required to learn programming languages to get into an animation studio? No. In fact, if you're going to be an animator, you don't really need to know anything about programming. The only reason I need to know it is because, well, for twofold. One, I'm a teacher, so you never know when that's going to be useful for teaching other classes. And two, the Crimson Fly. Like, I was doing all my programming in ActionScript, but never enough to, I didn't know enough to, like, say, teach that for that to make that a profession of mine. Like, in my day job, I would not work as a game developer, or in that particular part of the school, as a game developer in the school, because that's not my field. But no, animators don't need to know programming at all. The only reason I need to know it is for the Crimson Fly, and the only reason I need to know for the Crimson Fly is because I can't hire a programmer to do it for me. And heck, even if I could, I don't want the entire project to die at some point because I have a falling out with the programmer or I can't afford to pay them anymore. So it's better to learn it myself, rather than leave it to chance. That's not supposed to do that.
So this book,
that's not supposed to do that.
FYI, I found the JavaScript book. It's 15 years old, but some of the syntax is still similar, so it's a good way to like get an idea. I mean, it mentions DHTML. It's not called DHTML anymore. Whatever.
I mean, I'll take what you can give me. I'm starting completely from, well, not completely from scratch, but more or less from scratch.
No, I mean, it's a great reference book, and they have, if their website's still up, there's a thing in the back to go to their website.
Yeah, because, like, I also have a sneaking suspicion that I'm not going to be using Air to translate to mobile.
No.
When
people make mobile projects, they do use something, because I have Android Studio, or for making stuff for Androids, or they use, I forgot what Apple's BS. Not BS, but what Apple's
aren't they using Eclipse?
They're using they can use Eclipse, they can use any other IDE, but Android Studio is specifically for making mobile apps for Android phones.
Yeah, which I mean I want to do, but I also know that like the popular App Store is still the iStore, the Apple app, the iPhone store. So
then you would have to get the IDE that Apple uses, and their coding is it's called Objective-C, and they use, I think, Swift to do that stuff.
Yeah, no, that's the one that they use. Not SWF, SWIFT. These companies are really.
It's a birdie symbol. It's also a bird symbol, which is kind of funny.
Ha ha ha. So.
But yeah.
So yeah, so like as I was getting ready for tonight's stream, I was actually kind of on the verge of canceling tonight's stream so that I could just like spitball with you, Jiggy, mostly because this is like really getting into my head, not being able to work on the Crimson Fly. or rather, not being able
I was
to.
gonna say, if that's the case, probably just work on the Crimson Fly. And like I said, I gotta clean up my computer. I'll do that tonight, and then I'm supposed to play with Chris because honestly, I've just been coming home and sleeping because I've been going into work early and coming home late.
Well, no, I mean, like with the Crimson Fly, like the hiatus is very specifically for a reason. There's no
right.
Like I can't like it's weird. As much as it would be easier for me to just like say, okay, well, I'll just leave it to Jiggy. It really is a band-aid that I kind of need to adjust. I need to fix and take care of. So no, the hiatus is like the hiatus.
Yeah.
So I can't really just like be like, oh no, well, I really want to work on it. Well, what if I just know? It really is better in my best interest to learn this and make this either not a problem or make this an adaptable skill wherein like I can solve the problem if I like say like I don't know, something happens and HTML5 is not viable. I need to learn the mindset so that way I am adaptable, and if worst case scenario I can go to another IDE. If that makes sense.
Another IDE. Well, Eclipse is, like I said, the development environment, like they're all similar in terms of setup and stuff. Like I said, what it comes down to is what codes you're going to use, and so the environment is a non-issue.
Which, I mean, that's fine, but it's like it's sort of like it's one of two things that's been bugging me since well, actually since forever. One, like, you notice how like with emulators, it didn't really matter that like you couldn't find Sonic the Hedgehog in stores, or Mario or what have you. Like the loss of their original formats, or rather original mediums, didn't stop the games from being readapted to other platforms. I mean, granted, that's because like, you know, emulators were built to emulate the old software environments, but that's not the point. The point is that like not having not like you don't need a SNES to play Super Mario World. You can buy it off of the Wii App Store. Or heck, if you're feeling kind of illegal, you can do it. You can find an emulator. Like, it didn't stop people from being able to do this thing. The other thing that's been bugging me is just is that really frustrating thing of, oh, everybody has an idea for an app, and then they just make it. Like, I mean, granted, it takes years, but it's still this really frustrating thing of people just not like being able to make their own thing on a whim, and I'm like, okay, well, why can't I do it?
Yeah.
So,
oh boy.
I don't know if you heard that.
Kind of. I just hear a child.
Yeah, she's looking for her. It's my mother's birthday tonight, or today. And so my dad took my mother out for a date, and so they're still not back yet. So there's that. Also, in other random news, I drew my first no, actually that's the thing for a private conversation, so I'm not gonna talk about it on stream. But it was very fast. It's a very fascinating experience that I'll tell you about later. Mostly because this is not that kind of stream, unfortunately.
It's funny.
It's actually kind of a frustrating catch-22 for me as an artist, because like my tastes like run the gamut, but like unlike other artists, it's not something I can freely express because of the job that I want to work at. How did you lose your glasses?
I didn't. I put them down on the table side, but I keep sometimes forgetting where I put them because I'm like conked out for now. That's like, I'm gonna need a flashlight.
Also, I think I've leveled up in my storyboarding.
Nice.
Well, like before, it used to be like I had to have the absolute shape of the character. Now it's becoming this thing where it's like like I had to have all the breakdowns. Now I can sort of fake it. You can't really. You can't. Well, more like I don't. Yeah, well, sort of like I don't need to draw all my guidelines and keep all my guidelines in. Like I have enough mental memory to remember that I how I did my my guides.
Okay.
Alright, actually let's shrink Tails down because he's a little too big here. This is what I get for not establishing some sort of a size guide for my particular animation. Yeah, like the animation I did for Sonic and Tails in my thumbs doesn't at all match the timing that I have for my actual boards. So now I have to like reboard an entire sequence and make it fit.
Oh.
Did you break something?
No, I'm just moving my printer and stuff around.
That's
I can get underneath my desk and put it back up.
That's something I have to do too. Is actually have to do my printing for SPX this week, which is gonna be annoying.
Yeah, everyone keeps mentioning. I'm like, shit, I keep forgetting it's this week.
Well, I mean, that's adulthood in a nutshell. Is like you kind of forget these things have dates and stuff. Like, I actually have to. I was supposed to be on a panel for Baltimore Comic-Con, and I have to cancel out of it because my sister already contracted my services for that weekend, or rather for that particular day, and I can't leave my niece. Like, well, she's not old enough to be interested in comics, and also not old enough to sit still by herself for very long. So I'm not taking her to Comic-Con just so I can be on a panel for an hour.
Yeah, I hear that.
Which sucks, and I'm like, but at the same time, I was like, oh shoot, I don't get to go see this other person from Facebook on during the convention either. That sucks.
Damn it! You just missing all sorts of shit this weekend.
Well, I mean that's kind of the crux of my year as a whole is like I don't know. It doesn't feel like it was like the upgrade that it was supposed to be.
Mhm.
Like, it feels like it was just a sort of weird downgrade, actually. Or not downgrade, but just this standstill. Like, all the things I was supposed to upgrade to doing, I didn't get to do.
Right. Hell, I lost my job. I mean, I got a new one now and a better one, but it's like, for 2 months, I was like being cut back, and then it was like, yeah, you're let go. Like, oh.
Yeah. I mean,
stuff.
Like, on the plus side in November,
I was like, I feel you, man. That sucks. Like, I hate when life, like, this just decides to kick you in the balls when you have plans. Like, this is gonna be my year. And life's like, no, it's not.
Yeah, well, and also I've kind of moved on from my particular religious affiliation, so the whole, well, maybe it'll get better thing doesn't really do it for me anymore. Because, that implies that, you know, life is meant to, it owes you something for either you're good or you're bad in your life, and it's like, that's not how life works.
No, not at all.
Life only works like that if you set it up that way. But there's no, I don't know that there really is a magic balancing force. That's like saying, okay, well, you put in this much work, you're owed this much reward.
Karma? You mean like karma?
Yeah. I mean, I think you can tip the scales in your favor by stacking the deck. I.e., you network with this amount of people, you use this particular property at this particular time when it's very, very popular, etc., etc., etc. But nothing like that says, like, oh, you worked this hard, well, we're going to reward you for it.
Right. Everything in there, but I need to actually plug the plug-in.
Alright. So, this year was not fun in that sense. Like, there's some good that's been happening. Like, actually, no, the only really, really awesome... No, that's not true. I'm not thinking back far enough. But, yeah, no, this year kind of started off sucking. And it didn't really get better. So what exactly are you looking for?
I'm not. I'm moving plugs and crap around. I have like little room to work with, so sorry.
Oh no, you're good. I just, you know, don't want you to hurt yourself.
Oh no, I'm good. Everything's on the floor. It's just all over the floor.
Yeah, I wish I could say I feel that, but I haven't had to feel that for a very long time. For 2 years now.
Yeah, which is why tomorrow's gonna be an IKEA run.
Fun.
I get to look at all the fun I can't afford yet.
Yeah, I think also the other frustrating thing about the JavaScript and stuff like that is that I can't implement it yet. That's what's frustrating me about it. Like anytime I learn something new in ActionScript, I would just be like, okay, well let's plug it in and see if it works. But now I'm like, well, I have to wait until I know exactly how to plug that into. Like they had the exercise on functions, and I'm like, okay, well, how do I apply that to Animate? Because Animate doesn't have any really good tutorials about that. Whereas I like, the more I study like JavaScript, I'm like, so it seems like the codes that I was using for Animate or for JavaScript were custom made for, like, the Ease.js library was custom made for Animate/Flash. Like, that's not like something that normally happens in JavaScript, it seems like to me. If that makes any sense?
I mean, yeah, I mean, JavaScript, I'm trying to think of how to word it. JavaScript was made for HTML5 to be more interactive and like, yeah, just more interactive. And HTML5 kind of took care of that, some of that, and CSS3 kind of like helped out. But you still need JavaScript to do some of the more advanced like animations and stuff in HTML5. Why are you not working? I plugged you in. Oh, that, I heard that. Yes.
So it is what it is, but it's also really frustrating because I feel like if I did not have my particular background, I would have figured it out, but like I feel like this is harder than it needs to be, and I think part of that is on me as a person, because I'm like, I should ask these people. I don't want to ask these people. They could actually do it for you. You wouldn't have to struggle like to learn it yourself. You could just have somebody else do it for you. And I'm like, yeah, but then what happens when I do need to do it myself? Because this is not a one-off project.
Well, not even just that. Like, the way the world is, like, people are kids are coding now, and I'm like, this is ridiculous.
Well, to be fair, that actually started with our/my generation. Like, they were teaching in high school in where I went to school, but that was just, but it was a specifically a nerd thing, where the nerds were and they weren't even doing it to make games. They were just doing it because they were bored.
Yeah.
In fact, that's how I got into Flash. Was no, not that. Let's do just the intro loop, not the side of the pen. So not from there to there. Because yeah, my first experience with Flash was just in a programming class where I would take pieces of paper that I had drawn on. I would scan them in and then rearrange them in Flash, and those were my first set of frames. Okay, cool. So,
sweet.
You got it all figured out?
Yep, computer's up and running, and I have room to work with.
Oh, nice.
Okay, this is like odd.
And I don't like this music, so we're gonna go to the next song.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
A sailboat. Did I miss something? Skip something? Oh, I skipped Water Bike. Water Bike is actually a cool song. So yeah, so I forget when the year was that they made it, but they made a sequel to Sonic Rush called Sonic Rush Adventure, which was a lot of fun. It's basically Sonic the Hedgehog meets Pirates of the Caribbean.
That's funny.
Which is a weird mix considering that Sonic can't swim.
Right.
Or at least the closest facsimile he got to swimming was in well, anyway, semantics. But yeah, so Sonic and Tails, like the big joke, the big crux of that story is that in the first Sonic Rush, Blaze the cat comes over from her dimension, and everybody's like, "Oh, that's really cool," but I guess we're never seeing you again because at the end of the day, we have to seal away the dimensions and all that jazz.
Right.
So in Sonic Rush Adventure, Sonic and Tails get lost in a storm because for whatever reason they're out flying their plane in the middle of a hurricane.
That's funny.
So when they wake up, they meet Blaze and they're like, "Whoa, how are you in our dimension? I thought we sealed your place away." And Blaze is like, my house is literally right over there. What are you guys doing in my dimension?" And Sonic and Tails are like, "Oh, well, fudge. That's bad." So the game is basically them build like because this was also in the middle of the fad of building things. So Sonic and Tails have to build a variety of machines and that to get around the environment, sort of like a Legend of Zelda Phantom Hourglass, until they can build something that can eventually get them home. So it's a charming little game, and it's in a weird way it's better than its predecessor, but it's also not as tightly constructed as its predecessor.
It's not.
Like a lot of the mini games don't really land. Like if you don't like the sailing mini game, luckily you only have to do it once for each island you go to, but you still have to do it for each island that you go to explore. And if you don't like the mini game, well, you're SOL. Also, if you don't find anything, you're SOL too.
Oh, fuck that noise.
And you have like 4 different crafts that you have to find. So like so you build a water bike, which I don't know how a water bike seats 4 people, but apparently in Sonic's world it does. Then you have to build a they call it a sailboat. You basically build your own pirate ship.
Nice.
Then you have to build your own hovercraft. Then Tails builds you a submarine.
Okay.
And the thing is that you also have to grind for all these materials too.
Oh, jeez.
That you get by playing the levels and doing the extra missions and stuff. So again, bigger game than its predecessor, but not quite as tight as beat these 16 levels and not 16 levels. 8 no it really is around 16 levels because there's like 8 worlds in Sonic Rush. But like beat these 16 levels and be done with it. Whereas in Rush Adventure it's like, oh by the way, so beat these 16 levels and then all the little mini quests, and then also the vehicle mini games. Oh, and then also the obligatory Chaos Emerald mini stages, and yeah. And Sonic hadn't reached, like, I mean, the bulk of the game is still like running around at the speed of sound and all that jazz, but it's still this kind of. Did I not set a break timer? Okay, cool. There's like 36 seconds left. I was like, I know I've been working for longer than a half hour. So it's a tight game. It's a tight little game, but you could also tell that like the dev team was. It just didn't help that it was starting like there was like the midlife point of the DS. So the novelty of like 2D on 2 screens was sort of wearing off. Okay, so I wanna. This is the reason why you have decent storyboards, kids. Because this would not take... I would be done with this by now if I could follow my boards the way I had for literally all my other shots.
Right.
So, Anyway, I need to get something to eat. I'm not really gonna just be. I'm like literally gonna be a minute. Just to get some cherries so I can like keep talking. So give me like 2 seconds.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I'm still working on some stuff over here. Kind of set up, but it's not doing what it's supposed to do.
Isn't that fun?
Load yet. Okay. Alright. Let's open the file I just downloaded.
Alright, and I am back. Alright, let's end that break early and get back to drawing. Mostly because like I have been sitting on not drawing, so I could have this to work on during stream. And so I really haven't been working as much as I should, as much as I probably should be. But I mean, that's sort of the trade-off without like having Crimson Fly to work on. So, yep. And it's really frustrating, like knowing that I'm just overcomplicating it. But at the same time, it's like the hiatus is necessary, absolutely. But I just wish there was a way to work around it. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, is your computer working now, Jiggy?
Yeah, I'm just looking at the file that you just sent me.
It's literally just a flash file that just has a single like graphic symbol that and all the different code.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how to extract it.
Extract the code?
No, not the code. Yeah, there is no code, is there? Let me see.
No, all you have to do is just Control C and then Control V and paste it in your file.
Okay. No, you did put code in here. Okay, unmute all sounds, blah blah blah. Okay.
But I mean, the code's not really like a necessary thing. It's just basically, hey, this is how I did what I did. If you translate it, fine. If you don't translate it, that's also fine.
No, I can translate it. It's just, like I said, different syntax, and I have to use, I think I have to call the sound a different way. It's fine. Like I said, working on it.
Cool.
Yeah.
I think also the other issue for me is just that, like, when I start thinking about one thing, then my brain starts to warp off to all the possibilities. So it becomes less of a, okay, well, let's handle this problem. It's like, well, let's see how many problems we can also handle at the same time. And it's like, well, no, slow down, brain. Let's, like, focus on the one that we have right now.
Where? Oh, it's there. It's pretty far over here. If I can find it. What a date mine. 1:20 a.m. That would be it.
God, I wish I was making money independently. I mean, that's
a lot of people.
Hmm?
That's a lot of people.
Well, I mean, I could be like not maybe making like tons of money, but like if I one of the other projects I need to do after SPX and also after the quarter's over is I need to rearrange my Gumroad store so that it is so that it only has the PDFs on it.
Right.
And then I can start promoting that because like I don't. Did you even know I had a Gumroad store?
Gumroad. I knew about the Gumroad store. I never used it.
Well, no. Did you know that I had one?
What?
Yeah.
Totally cut off, so I heard nothing of what you said.
Oh, I was gonna say, did you know that I had a Gumroad store?
Yes, I do.
Huh.
0-0. Like, I keep forgetting you have it, but I know you have it.
But then again, at the same time, the flip to that is like I didn't really promote it as if I kind of stopped promoting it after I realized that the export version of the Crimson Fly for rather like the entire thing would need an overhaul. To say nothing of what I'd learned about how to properly export things from Air for desktop.
Right.
So I was like, ooh. Let's see, do I want to? Ah, that cherry is not good. Let's give Tails a little. Actually, let's not cheat that. I really want to cheat that, but I should not cheat that. I should also set my work timer so that I'm not working for an hour straight. Alright. Shit. I forgot what I was looking for. Oh, I was just checking notifications, which I really shouldn't do during stream. Why? Alright, so we're gonna give Tails a little bit of stretch, a surprise here. Ah, this cherry is also really punchy, which means it's probably not good. Wait, so did you disassemble your computer? Because I'm kind of fuzzy on the details as to what exactly happened with your computer.
No, I unplugged everything because I had to move the desk. Which means I had to move the tower. So, yeah.
Let's make the hair fringe up a little bit. It is really stupid how, like, the minute details I know about, I put into some of these characters. Where it's like, knowing that Sonic has 6 spines, Knuckles has 7 dreadlocks, and Tails has 3, like, major hairs. Like, that's dumb.
You kind of need to know that.
Well, yeah, but these are things that I knew before I started getting into fan art. So let's curve the legs in a little bit there. I wonder how much of this I can get away. I can use symbol animation to get away with. Because like certain things have to be cycles in this animation, like Sonic's legs have to be a cycle because I'm not animating every time the leg goes through a rotation. I mean, I could, but it's not really worth it. In fact, it would look worse if I did. Let's move that over there. What? And boop. There we go. All right, let's get rid of this frame. We don't need it because this serves the same function. All right, let's see what that looks like. Loopity loop. Alright, so that's working.
So I'll comment this stuff out because I was trying to do something dumb. Not dumb, but I was trying to do something a little more different.
So you mentioned like for the to smooth out the code that alright, hold up a sec. Okay, so we want that. We don't want that to lock in like that immediately. Like basically setting a function to but to check on the animation to see if it was yeah, because that's very fascinating to me. I want to know how you did that.
Well, not yet. Like I said, I'm looking at the code now where I was at like 2 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, I was starting to do it. For I equals 0, I equals 0, I equals plus, if I equals turn, I equals 0. Yeah, so basically I was telling it, I was trying to do the thing. So basically I was trying to tell the function, if you're on this frame, go to, like, roll through the frames. If you're on this frame, then stay there.
Cool. I kind of want to see this code.
Yeah, I commented all of it out because I'm going to try something else, but the function for the forward arrow was something like, it rolled through the frames again, and if I equals current frame, go to and play I equals I plus 1.
Cool. Yeah. So, because I mean, the other thing I want to do is like, because I know like for mobile, it's gonna have to externally load the animations and stuff.
Oh, I didn't even need the sound.
Huh?
No, I accidentally commented out the sound button. The sound button's fine, so you can't really, whatever.
But like I know for like mobile and for the app version, like on desktop it's not gonna be a big deal. But I know like for other formats, I'm gonna have to like export all the video and export all the videos and things and just have them load externally. So if that's something that we can set up, or like at least set up that workflow beforehand. I know this is like something I'm not supposed to be thinking about because, you know, getting it working in its current format and all that jazz. But let's see. Alright, so we need that needs some more frames. F7. So that's the song that's playing is the Storm. So we're not gonna listen to that because I don't care about it. Island Blaze appears waiting for boss. Puzzle, pirates, Johnny and Whisker. Let's skip all the way to that. Oi, oi. The other thing I need to do is while we're figuring this out is I also need to figure out proper marketing. I mean, right now I'm just spitballing things because like it's not really these like the things I'm spitballing now are just kind of ideas for later, but not for right now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like right now my big problem is that my organization is like shot to pieces, and I'm not talking about like the people working for me or what have you. I'm just talking about like how I set up my studio.
Right.
It's a mess. Like the only thing I really sort of had going for me was just the weekly schedule, and sort of basing things around that, and when I would finish things up. But like now it's just like kind of shot to pieces, and I'm realizing that when we do get this all figured out, I'm gonna have to like come back properly, not like just kind of willy-nilly. Okay, guys, I'm back. Like, I'm sort of wondering how I'm gonna do that. Like, do I just, like, start from the beginning all over again?
Right.
Or do I just, or do I just keep going like nothing has changed, even though everything has kind of changed a lot? Or will have to change a lot anyway?
Right.
Because, like, it'll have to, I mean, even ignoring the new UI, there's still the issue of the new website, because it like I can't have like I won't be able to upload to Blogger. Like that's just not an I mean it might be an option, but it's still not that's not the best of options. Like I really should have updated to a website once I started having the money consistently to be able to do so. So yeah, and it's like I don't really know how to do that, which is kind of frustrating. Skip to Big Swell. Okay, just boss Big Swell. Oh god, this symbol's gonna be a giant butt pain. Autosave. Alright. Let's see. Okay, so that needs more time. It's funny hearing you programming all those things.
Sorry.
I know you're good. So are you gonna be like going like like not tabling, but like attending SPX?
No, I didn't even know. Wait, is it this weekend?
It's next weekend.
Next weekend? We'll see. I didn't really plan on it because I keep forgetting about it. And it's in. God, it's a day lot. It's in DC. But no, I'll try to make it out there next week.
Cool.
So this way I can see stuff, you know, just get the creative juices flowing, and like just like getting, you know, just having that energy. I just feel like I've been just like, you know, for the last like year and a half with everything going on, it's like nothing but negative energy, and that's probably part of the reason why it's just.
Yeah, I feel that.
So it's like, nope, you just gotta be around stuff, good stuff. That's the thing.
Like... F7. Build that up.
Oh, yeah, stuff.
And let's go back here. I wonder if I should keep doing the Friday streams and just like have my 3 street instead of having like 4 days a week, with Friday being the one day where nobody really shows up because everybody's got like Friday stuff. Just doing it on like just moving it to Saturday.
Right.
Cause I love it. I do like streaming, but at the same time, the point of streaming is to stream to an audience, and I feel like that's one of those things where you actually really can't get away from that. Like, it really is it's an everybody's sport, so you can't really just, like, get away from it.
Right.
So, like, if either you're not feeling it or the audience isn't there on those days, and you don't have the rep to force the audience to be there on those days.
No, I have to do the if statement. Shit.
Oh, walk us through your process?
Basically, I'm trying to make the arrow so that it replays that specific panel over. But in order to do that, I need to uncomment all the stuff I just did and use the if statements, because the thing is, I basically have to tell it, run through, find this, do this. If you find this, do this.
Mm.
Like, okay, because the panels are on frames.
Yeah.
It's like, so for the current panel, because that one's easy. So, and I'll send you the code so you can visually see it, but I'm trying to mess with it right now. Basically, I'm doing a for statement, saying, making I the variable, and that's probably why it's not working. Var I equals 0. So basically, I equals 0. I is less than 36, because there's, I think, a total of 36 frames in that thing, which is fine.
Yeah.
And I plus plus. If I equals the current frame, go to and play I, meaning play that current frame again. Else, go to and play, I think I said go to and play 1. I think I told it. Oh, go to and play the next frame, which would make it do that animation.
Okay.
That you have moving.
But within the movie clip, not within not within the main timeline.
No, within the main timeline, it'll do it. Oh. Basically, because the entire movie for panel 1 is in frame 1, it'll play the entire movie in frame 1, which is fine. But then because you have a stop in there in the movie at the end. Once the movie's over, they'll press the button, and because I have to tell it to go play frame 2. No, frame 1's fine. Go to and play 1. Go to and play. Oh no, I could put the else statement out. I don't need that in there. I'll think about it later. Basically, so the second panel is on frame. Go to the thing. So the second panel is on frame 10, I believe, or whatever. So the thing is, yeah, frame 10 or 9, close enough. So basically, the second function, the same function will say. The forward arrow says, well, when you're done reiterating through the frames, if I is the current frame, which it's on because it's on frame 10, go and play 10 plus 1. Well, 10 plus 1 is frame 11, and you have an action there telling it to go forward. So it'll automatically play that action and go to the next thing.
Cool, I think.
Yeah, you'll get it once you see it. Or if you need me, I'll explain to you. I don't know what I was doing with that first. No, I had to get rid of that statement.
I mean, it's one of those things where, like hearing it's not the same thing as actually seeing it.
Yeah. You'll see once. It'll make sense once you see it. It's like I said, it's all logic, but I gotta get it to function if. Okay, if. Yeah, only if I is. We'll do a different thing because I don't want to use the same. Well, I can use the same because of the local barrier.
Because that's mostly working. It's kind of small though.
No, it's not a lot. It's just making sure that it's...
Oh, no, I'm talking about the thing I'm working on.
Okay. Handling. And then, yeah.
Let's shrink that down just a little bit. Here we go. Cool, that's working. Alright. I just realized that, like, on Discord, I could probably get MeBot to spam everybody else's Discords whenever I'm online. Which I never learned how to do, but that's okay. Hey, so Jiggy.
Yeah.
Would it be possible to teach the code to load the video externally?
To what?
To load the video externally, like not right now. But like teach it to.
Load it externally where and through which player? Through VLC.
Not necessarily VLC, but like either load it from the library or load it from shoot, I'm trying to think of a word for this, because like the one that I have on my phone, basically it has the video compressed as a series of JPEGs, and it basically just loads the sequence rather than having the entire video, like rendered in Flash as vectors, basically just loading it as a series of still images. Do you think that would like lower the size of the project, or the size of the file?
Here, run that by me again.
So like, you know how like when with with like the entire like the videos are vectors, right? Like a series of vectors where it's shoot. So it's a series of vectors with like all the masking and all the computing because vector lines, etc., right?
Mhm.
So what if instead of the individual frames, instead of it all being vectors, it was just a series of images in the place of that video? Would that make it? Would that like shoot? Would that make it? Would that lower the file size of the thing, or is this just something that I should probably think about later after you're done with what you're doing?
Probably later after I'm done with what I'm doing.
Okay, cool.
I'm trying to figure out.
Alright, so this looks choppy as all fucking get out, but that's okay because, well, it's supposed to for the time being. Cool. Alright, so there's that. That's one thing. So next thing to do is, well, fix this so that doesn't do that. Okay, so that's that. Alright. Stages OST. Mostly because they have good things. All day stages music. I'm kind of looking for the entire thing, but fine, I can live with that. Well, that's convenient. Let's take a break. Or let's take a sit back break. So break. Put the timer. And reset the video. It's weird. It feels like there's something to do this weekend, and I keep forgetting what it is.
Like, what?
I mean, it's just the sort of overload of things to do for next weekend. And then, well, there was going to be something for the weekend after that, but there isn't going to be any more because, but still, I'm just like, what am I supposed to be doing? What am I forgetting that I'm supposed to be doing, etc., etc., etc.
Yeah.
Which I'm always forgetting something. Well, I suppose if I wanted to, I could set up Batman to run in the other window and then just go back and forth. But that's something for another stream. Although it also doesn't help that, like, I've sort of, like, kind of, like, whenever I binge my social media channels, I'm like, okay, well, that's all updated. Okay, what's next? Okay, that's all updated. Okay, what's next? And then at some point, I'm like, I should do something other than browse social media, but I'm not going to browse I'm not going to do anything else but browse social media. So, but I've run out of social media to browse. So now what?
Right.
Alright, time to get back to work. Oops, that's my face. That's also my face again. I don't think I've set the break screen. Well, that's dumb. Alright. And now for my next party trick. Well, my next party trick will actually be picking the right color.
This is why I should not code at 2 in the morning, because now I came up with... I think I came up with a solution. I'm like, oh, duh.
Yeah, well, isn't that most coding?
Pretty much. Okay. So, I don't know why I didn't do this
Oh, no, this is why I try not to do things at either at a time or in a mood when I'm not feeling like doing them. Because usually that's exactly what happens, and then half the mess is dedicated to, half the next work session is dedicated to cleaning up the old mess.
Right.
Alright, so that's probably not going to work. Shift F6. Oops. Shift F6. F6. Let's just blow up Sonic. That's really what's going to happen. Can't wait to be done with this Ammonatic. Man, it's kind of Machiavellian, but I kind of wish I could see who's watching and who's not watching. But I don't know. I guess that's just not my kind of stream, or at least my stream is not that kind of stream.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I don't know. It's sort of weird just still be figuring out, one, what it's about, and two, how to get more people to come in and visit and stuff. I feel like people come in for different reasons, and then not for the reasons that the people who do come by for they're not the same reasons that most people come by streams. So it's a very weird thing.
Right. Oh, library pages. Ah, there it is.
Oh, that was smart. You know me. Yes, I think that's a good job, me. Not sure.
Oh my god, my computer having a fucking heart attack right now. Please don't.
Hmm? Oh, is Flash being...
Don't do that right now.
Is Flash being dumb?
Yeah. No, I think it's just me. It wasn't moving for a while. I thought it froze. I was really like... Yeah, I'll kill somebody.
Okay, I can arc this so it's not as linear. So let's figure this out with lines of action. So it looks like. Ooh. So let's shrink that down just a little bit. And let's get rid of this background. That's not helping.
What the fuck?
Huh? Oh, did the code do something weird, or is my singing off-putting? Erase that, erase that, erase that. what my next evolution as an artist is gonna be. You ever wonder about that, Jiggy?
What?
Like, what your next evolution as an artist is gonna take? What path that's gonna take?
Yeah.
Because, like, this way...
I just don't know. I kind of just don't know. And I'm like, I know I'm going to evolve, but I just don't know where. So I'm just kind of going to let it go.
Because, it's, like, what I'm doing right now with my boards is very fascinating to me because it's not something... Like, it makes sense from where I am now to be, like, erasing after my steps. So that way, like, the boards are cleaner. But it's something I never would have thought of, like, 5 years ago, or like, or rather, it's something I was not good enough to be able to do. Like, not even a year ago. Especially for an animated short. Like, I mean, part of it is just, like, I've been watching a crap ton of Turtles. Or rather not so much Turtles, but the way that they do their storyboards, where they're, like, really, they're not super clean. But they are clean enough that you could turn them into a portfolio piece without, like, extra help.
Right.
And let's change that. Which, I mean, that's kind of the point of actually working on stuff, rather than just practicing, like, life drawing and practicing exercises. But actually working on projects.
Well, projects is basically the best way to get better, because it's like, oh crap, I gotta evolve and do this. Oh crap, I gotta evolve and do this. And then it's like, oh crap, I gotta evolve and do this now. It's like, alright. Whatever you say, man.
It's like, I'm not doing anything I couldn't do before, but I'm also doing a crap ton that I didn't know I could do. Shut up, me. I reset the page because, you know, my insecurities and all that jazz. I just started picking up the harmonica again.
Why not?
Time.
That is true.
That's really any pet hobby that I haven't done. And the other issue is just that my family can get sort of hyper competitive sometimes. So, like, my dad, he doesn't mean to, but sometimes, like, he will express his commentary in ways that are not really as conducive as he thinks they are.
Yeah.
So he'll be like, so you picked it up again. Maybe now it won't sound like XYZ. And I'm like, gee, Dad, I was excited about playing it, but now you kind of made me feel bad about playing it, so I'm not going to play it anymore. So I think that's the reason why me and my sister are not really sharers when it comes to family sometimes. Because also sometimes my mom will, like, overcompensate for my dad, and then it'll go in the opposite direction where it's like, okay, well, I can't tell when you're actually being genuine. Like, it was funny, like, on Wednesday, we went to the thrift store to pick up some new clothes. And so I wore a set to work on yesterday. And they're like, did anybody notice? I'm like, no. I don't know why you expected people to notice. Because, I mean, basically the clothes were in the style that I normally wear anyway. So it was one of those things where, if you know me, I mean, if you were there when I bought the clothes, then then you know what's different. If you weren't, and you just see me on 2 days out of the week, you're gonna be like, okay, I guess you shaved, cool.
Right.
This is where the style bites me in the butt. Can't wait to be done with this animatic. And not because I'm tired of working on it, but because I want to start animating and I want to see it done.
What's that? Now my phone decided to scream very loudly at me.
Yeah, so loud I could hear it.
Don't care. Not important. With random notifications.
When is it ever important, though? Like, I kind of wish I got to I was in a point in my life where it was important, but it's like almost never important.
Right.
Part of me wants to figure out this perspective change with Tails when I actually start animating it. But the rest of me knows that if I don't do it now, I'm going to be really, really cheesed when I have to figure it out and when I'm animating.
Oh my god. Ugh.
Alright, that's probably still wrong, but that's okay. Let's see what that looks like. Times this is probably all screwed up. That's okay. Probably shouldn't have fully animated that, but that's okay. That's good, so Tails will not actually be visible. Lock Sonic. 7. Tails won't be visible. Tails still won't be visible. Tails still won't be visible. Okay, that's fine. Plane?
Huh?
No, you're good. I'm just like, I'm trying to figure out this perspective change in 2D. If there's one thing that 3D is really good at, is that you don't have to worry about perspective because all you have to do is just rotate the camera.
Right.
But in 2D, you have to draw every perspective change. But you don't get to drawing every perspective change if you just kind of ignore that it ever happened and just cut everything. It's not as impressive. So face my fears. So just like with the comic as a whole and pulling off that band-aid, I'm not gonna do it for every animation. Meh?
Can you do me a small favor?
Shoot.
At some point, I think I have an idea what I can do, but it involves basically the panels. Can you export each panel as its own Swift animation?
Yeah.
Instead of the PNG sequences, the PNG panels. I think that's what my problem is. I'm like, why won't let me do this?
Well, what you can do is, well, no, you can't. I don't know if you can do it from your end.
I'm trying to find. Well, I'm trying to see if I can go into the, because I have the sound file. That's a separate file. Let me publish. Let me quote unquote publish it. This way, it'll hopefully give me all the things. Yeah, publish. Don't care. Can you give me everything? Oh, it's on in my PC. Great.
Because I mean, I can do you that favor.
Yeah, I know. I'm seeing if I can get it, but I think it auto saved it in my C drive, so I gotta go find it. You're like, what are you doing? Why are you there? Alright, I'll just save someone else. Where on the desktop am I? Ah, there's a Swift file. Okay. There's no accompanying folders.
So I mean, the thing is with those is that because they're all symbols inside inside that library, you can't actually export them all if you want. It will just be a pain in the butt to set up to do, which is one of those things where it's like, yeah, let me do that instead.
Yeah.
Alright, you done getting over yourself, Flash?
Imported data separate. I'm gonna delete that other edit file because that file is... No, I'm just gonna... Oh, that's great. I don't need to do it. I have brackets. Yes, I have brackets.
Knock tails layer. Knock that, close that off. See what that looks like. What the? Okay, I know what the problem is there. You guys don't seem fast enough. We're gonna keep working because I'm on a roll now.
Yep.
That being said, I should still set a work timer because otherwise I'm gonna get burnt out, and that's not gonna be fun. SSS7. I wonder what Drastic is up to tonight.
Probably playing Overwatch. He said I forgot, he either IM'd me or he went on Facebook and he said he got loaded and played the Overwatch like PvP or some bullshit.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw it. Yeah.
I was like, oh my god, that has to be funny as hell.
Man, I wish I could afford to get blitzed.
I think most of America wants to get blitzed right now.
Well, it's that really stupid, like, if I worked a job where it didn't matter, I wouldn't care.
Right.
But I work a job, but I don't so much work a job where it matters, but I work a job, okay, cool, so I can't be there. I work a job where they do care, and I want to potentially work more jobs where they might still care, so.
Right.
So those need to be up there. And wee. Cool. I think this board is done. Well, I say that, but, I still need to work out the camera. Alright, let's go back out to cam and see where everything is.
Oh god.
What did you do?
No, I heard the beep beep beep, but I'm like, what is that?
Oh, that's my house. Like that's the house alarm.
Right.
Okay, that should not have worked out the way it did, but I'm glad it did. Okay, so for whatever reason, when I set up the camera, I planned it out exactly as I needed to plan it out. So I thought it would be worse than it was, but it's not. It's actually exactly as I need it to be. Which is very, very fascinating. Sometimes I amaze myself. One of these days I'll get to a point in my life where it doesn't sound like I'm humble bragging.
Right.
I don't know, I feel that's like where I am with my life right now. It's like most of the time where I'm stating something, it sounds like humble bragging, even if it kind of isn't.
Humble brag. Oh. I'm sorry. I'm like totally focused on getting this shit to work.
Cool, so that worked out. Alright.
Alright, so I'm gonna save it as that.
Save, you better be working, because tonight was a really good night for working on this animatic. But I think I'm gonna call it, at least in terms of the stream, I'm gonna call it a night after I finish, after I check these boards to make sure that they work. All right. Yeah, they work. So let me save that. Control, we're gonna render export movie, render export as a PNG sequence. Shot 19, PNG, pre-production, fin, image sequence. 1920, PNG sequence. 1920 by 1080, export 24. While that's rendering, let's open up After Effects, which I haven't touched in a week because I've been working on this. And finishing that. There's nothing more frustrating than going through people's Patreons and being like, oh man, I wish I drew that much. And you're like, well, I do draw that much, it's just it's in a sequential format. I love how many people on this status with like so I shared a picture on Facebook about Canon exits, okay, whatever, agree to that. Exit the survey program because I don't care about the survey program. Alright, After Effects. So here's this, no, not that. Sonic Project 06. So yeah, so there's this panel where this thing where it's like where All Might from My Hero Academia is commenting on somebody's layer setup in Photoshop. Always go for this, where the frames are all layered. Not the frames, all the layers are all layered. Not layered. Wow, my brain's starting to go out. Where all the layers are all labeled.
Mm-hmm.
And then he says, never go for this. And this is basically the layers are all not labeled.
Right.
And it's like, never go for this. Only villains do that. And half of the people who commented are like, well, guess I've turned to super villainy. Alright, so I think for the next week I'm going to work on the 11-second club thing and get those, So yeah, for tomorrow I'm going to work on character designs for that. It was supposed to be this week, but I got hung up on getting that one shot for Sonic. Oh, who am I kidding? I'm probably going to work on Sonic tomorrow. Pre-production, production. Alright, PNG sequence. Interpret footage. Main. 24 FPS. Alright, so let's go to shot comps. And wow. Shots, so thumbs 48 through 66. That's how many storyboards I did for that one shot.
Really?
Well, no, I didn't do 66 boards. I mean, I'm talking about for that one scene, it was 18 boards.
Wow. Okay.
I mean, I guess it's not as impressive when if like because if it was a dialogue scene, it would probably be more boards. But for an action sequence, it's kind of cool. Cool. So that works. All right, let's put this on pause for a first hot minute. Even though it's the last song. Crimson Carnival Day music. Is that what the level's called? All right. So shot comps. Let's extend this a little bit further. Oh, right. Now it's just pre-rendering the file. So that way I can watch it in time. It's not done yet. Just wait, Josh, animate. I mean, not animate, After Effects. Jeez. Fit up to 100. Alright. So it's rendering. It's funny watching the pre-render because that means that that like everybody watching the screen can see it what it's supposed to look like as it's rendering, but not the timing. So you have to watch it again a second time to see what it looks like, and it's kind of funny. Endless possibilities. Gaia remix. Oh, cool. Newbie Spud still got it. Then again, it never deletes off of YouTube. There's nothing more frustrating than finding a really awesome mix on YouTube, only to find out that like the file hosted version is like deleted.
Oh boy.
It's like, oh, that song is so awesome. I wonder if I can download it. Nope, because it got deleted from the host. I mean, you can still use something like KeepVid or any of the other file hosting or any of the other RIP sites to download it from YouTube. But if the composer knows what they're doing, you probably want to get the file that they actually the MP3. I am turning into Porky Pig tonight. At least that's how I've always seen it. It's sort of like, oh, sure, I could download the JPEG, but if they're offering the PSD file, I should really grab that instead, or the Flash file.
Right.
Alright, here we go.
I want to overwrite all the things.
Come on. There we go. No. Render from the beginning, because I want to see what it looks like. I want to enjoy all my hard work, please. I should really find that out. That actually looks really cool. I'm excited.
You're excited?
I am excited. I mean, there's a few timing weirdnesses, but on the whole, I am excited. So we're gonna actually call it a night there, so that I can render this out properly. Actually, know what I want my title to be, so we're not gonna call it Sonic Triple S. Oh wait, but that's what it's called in the Flash file, so I can't change it here. Cool. So let's put that back on. And actually, let's put on the end screen because that's really where we are right now. I don't necessarily have to end it here, but there's really only a half hour left in the stream.
Right.
But, oh man, that looks good. So yeah, we're gonna call it a night on tonight's stream. Thank you, Jiggy, for helping with the co-host. Who's still here?
Sorry if I haven't been there for like the last hour. I'm like just looking at like, how can I do this?
Oh no, I was doing that too, technically. But yeah. So Bess, thanks for popping by. Firefang, I know you were here for like 5 seconds. Muma X the Troller, thank you for popping by. And I will catch you guys on the next stream, which should be tomorrow at 7 p.m. from 7 to whenever. And I will catch you guys later. Have a good evening. Oh, crap, I forgot to change it from Wednesday afternoon stream to the Friday afternoon stream. Whatever, you guys will live. Catch you guys later.